Hi, this is Sean B. Bradley. I'm here at Vada Chevrolet, and we're going to go through the residual flow factor. This is for their internet director that they can review at a later time. Just want to reiterate that the internet sale is a long-term follow-up sale. I want everybody to understand that. J.D. Power says that on average it's about an 11 to 14% connection ratio on the phones. That means that if you attempt to call 100 people, you're only going to get 11 to 14 people on the phone. The majority of what you're going to do is do long-term follow-up. You know, email, phone call, email, phone call, email, phone call. The CRM or ILM is going to be doing all of the the automated emails on a predetermined action plan. Your job as coordinators is going to be, specifically making the phone calls. But now for my director, what I went over here is just an example of what a residual flow factor is. Since the average buying power, the average buying cycle, the average gestation period is between 45 and 90 days, it's over 30 days. Again, the residual flow factor. In this example, if you have 400 leads from April 1st to the end of April, and you sell 10%, that's 40 units. That means that there's 360 people that you didn't sell that month in April. Some are dead, bogus, but what else were they changed their mind, they're just not interested or whatever. So let's just estimate that's about 160. There's still 200 leads that are still cooking or still viable. Again, this is very, very important because, again, you got to remember that just because you get the lead in April 1st, April 13th, April 27th, it doesn't mean just because you close your month out. The automotive industry is a month-to-month business. Just because you close your month in April doesn't mean it's a non-viable opportunity. So let's say you carry over to May 1st with 200 carryover leads. But in May, you're going to get an additional 400, fresh leads. That means that you're working in the month of May 600 total opportunities. And that's being conservative because we're only going back 30 days. And the average buying cycle is 45 to 90 days. So what I want you to remember, and I want you to watch this video just so you have any questions for tonight, is that to basically combat this as a problem and keep yourself vigilant and on track, I want you to start tracking what's called your gestation period. Start being cognizant of your average buying cycle. And the way that you do that is you create an Excel spreadsheet or report, but Excel is really easy. And on the Excel spreadsheet, you could have your sold list. So for example, last month, however many units that you sold, let's say you sold 30 units, just to make a round number. If you sold 30 units out of your internet department last month for April, on the spreadsheet you're going to have the sold sheet. So it'll be April sold log. You're going to have the name of the prospect, the source. You could put the grosses, you could put whatever details that you want, but the details that I want in there are the date that the lead originated at, and then the date that the lead sold, and then I also want the average window period. So say for example, or actually just the window period. So to repeat that again, you want to have the date that the lead came in on, you want to have the date that the lead got sold, and you want to have the window period. For example, if the lead came in April 1st, but it got sold on April 14th, then it's a 14-day window period. It took 14 days to get that prospect to come in and buy an automobile. If the lead came in on April 15th and it got sold on April 20th, then that's a 5-day window period. So now try to imagine, let's say you sold 30 cars in April, you're going to have a spreadsheet with each one of your prospects, and the main variable I want you to be focused on is finding out when did the lead originate and when did the lead close, and then you're going to tie in what is the window period. And what's going to happen is if you do the Excel sheet and tie the cells together, you're going to be able to have it automatically add up all those numbers and then divide it. What we're trying to get is what is the average window period. Let me make sure you understand that again. What we're looking for is the average window period. Now, how are you going to find out that the date that it originated on? It's really simple. Go to your CRM or your ILM and click the new lead button, because you have ABV. Just click the new lead button and you can turn around and see when the lead originated. So that's the first number. The second number is the date that the vehicle got sold. It'll also be marked in your CRM or ILM. Mark that date down and then just do some quick little basic math, and you're going to have the gestation period or the window period. Add them all up together. Let's say you have a 2-day, a 5-day, a 12-day, a 32-day, a 2-day, 3-day, 5-day, and you add them all up and then you divide it by 30. That's going to give you the average window period. And how you know that you're doing a good job is when you're like in the double digits, when you are like in 25 average window period, 30-day average window period. But unfortunately, most dealerships are like 11 days or less. What that means is that most dealerships are not infrastructurally sound for the long-term follow-up. What that means is that most dealerships are just catching the low-hanging fruit. Think about that. If the average buying cycle is 45 to 90 days, if the average OEM lead, if the average manufacturer lead is 90 days, how can we only have an average of a 6, 7, 8, 9, or 11-day window period if the OEM's average lead closes in 90 days? That basically means that we have a tremendous amount of opportunity to improve as long as we get control of our residual flow factor. Now this organization here, PAN, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 potential coordinators. Even if we only keep 6 or 7, that's a lot of coordinators. They're going to be able to handle at least 100 to 120 leads a piece. So we're talking about 800 leads. Now if we get 800 leads, we sell 80, and let's just say we carry over 400 at the end of the month, in the beginning of the month, plus we get an additional 800, that means there's 1,200 leads. What happens, and David is the GM, you've got to understand, this right here is what's going to kill or suffocate your department. Because if you start drowning in leads, do you see what I'm saying? If you start drowning in leads, all you have time for is the easy stuff, the low-hanging fruit. That's why we are talking about infrastructural setup. We're talking about people setup. We need to make sure that you have control over this. Stop.